Okay, transmission has begun. We're here.
Good.
Hello,
For that.
everybody.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Good? I hope so.
I hope you're doing better than Pyrr right now. He is currently on a 2-loss streak right now, and it's
We
hilarious.
are fine. Everything is okay. It's not my fault that I create exceptional plans of Mario Party. And someone wins the freaking lottery. That's not my fault. That's not on me.
That's it's just, like I said last time. It's karma.
I am a flawless galaxy brain. I made Toad's Midway Madness into a good board. Nintendo couldn't do that.
I hope that goes down to the final game. Like, if that last board, if it's a 3-on-3, that'll just be best content.
I promise you, if it's last board, it'll be in Mario Party 5.
Ooh, fun.
Just to be as random as possible.
Anyway, welcome everybody to the half of October Design Dorks.
We're here. We're fine.
We're here.
It's like almost a full month. I think we're like 5 days short.
Yeah, as long as it's monthly, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I am one of your co-hosts, the Duke of Dorks. I'm fucking exhausted today. I've been sandblasting all week, and if you know what that is, it's rough.
I know. Playing against Luke, really hard.
And joining me,
I am Pyrr Kong of Designing 4. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about some games, some other stuff, a bonus stage that may or may not be completely obvious on my part. The title and thumbnail just slightly give it away. I'm so excited to talk about that.
I'm glad that you're excited. My life is going okay.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we can start with the traditional stuff, we of course have to do... What the fuck's the name of this thing?
Dingpots and Dragons.
Thank you, Dingpots and Dragons. I wasn't expecting anything, but there's nothing. No Halloween little grunty thing.
Excuse me, there was a 4th Banjo statue announced for this year.
4 of them now.
Yeah, they released like Crocodile Banjo this year, Walrus Banjo this year, and now they're just doing Banjo-Kazooie, but again. And then like a 4th one that was a character that I forget.
Clearly they're working.
Oh wait, I think they did Pumpkin Banjo. Have they done Pumpkin Banjo yet? I don't remember.
I mean, if there was one to do for Halloween, that would be it.
First 4 Figures is pumping out very, very high quality statues, by which I mean very decent quality statues.
Yeah. I think
for
Game
exorbitant
Awards,
prices.
Game Awards is like the last chance for any of this to happen, right?
Yeah. As it always is.
Indeed. Mayhaps indeed. It'll get in between the GTA 6 trailer that's been rumored for 10 years.
Remember when GTA 5 came out?
Actually, no, I don't. It's been too long.
Man. I didn't even want to be a voice actor back then. And that's like so long ago.
At the time, I thought like 4 was the newest one. I didn't even clock that a 5 existed. That was just the ones that my friends played. That's what they had access to. There is no 5 in Bossing Say. Oh well. Maybe next time the bet would be a little more fun. But until then, what you been playing?
Oh, a bunch of games, actually. Like, if you look at my list, like, that's a solid list.
No, yeah, that's a lot. I feel inadequate. I brought
yeah,
like
no.
half of that.
I was like, okay, before bed Steam Deck and waking up Steam Deck. Good decision for my life.
That checks out.
Yeah. But start things off, I played a game that is just a demo at this point, but it's called Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. Which is a great name for a game.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Imagine if Crazy Taxi were a platformer released on the Sega Saturn.
I've got the trailer in the background right now. This is just Crazy Taxi in a Sonic level. That's all
Yes.
this is.
Now, the interesting thing about this game is that you do not have a jump button. Which you're like, how does that work for a platformer? It is, you do a dash, and your dash continues its momentum.
Okay, so like
And
a lot
you
of
just-
ramp kind of stuff.
Yeah, you just launch yourself off of ramps constantly. It is very, very fun when you get it working. The skill ceiling is really high. Like, the skill floor is high.
Okay. I mean, I love the style of this. This is so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of hurting my eyes with how it just...
Oh, yeah, it's a bit garish. I personally don't think that it sustains full levels all that well, but like as just a fun concept, I think it's really solid and it should be releasing next year. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, I wanted to bring it to the table for everyone.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, not much else to say on that one in specific. So, to transition into the next one, I played a very old game, I believe 1992 arcade game called Quiz and Dragons, Capcom quiz game.
I have never heard of this before.
Excellent. So, do you know what Dungeons and Dragons is?
I may have heard of it.
All right, so imagine that sort of stylization in the sort of beat 'em up style that was going on with D&D at the time. And imagine that they turn it into a board game, and in order to defeat the enemies, you have to answer trivia questions.
Okay, and is it like... What are the trivia questions centered around?
Trivia from 1992.
So it's not like Capcom themed or fantasy
There is
themed
a
at all.
version of this
It's
that has
just-
Capcom themed questions, but my version that I played in my Discord server, which I just was like, okay guys, we're going to group think this. Okay, first question. Who starred in this movie?
I'm just looking at which of the following actors did not appear in The Godfather Part 2.
Exactly, but a bit more obscure, and again, it does not go past like 1990.
Wow.
There's a sharp metallic echo to my mic. Oh dear. No settings have changed. Can you turn me down on your end a
Yeah,
bit?
I can turn you down a little bit.
All right. Yeah, let me see, because I wasn't there last night, and I apologize.
Yeah, probably get down another decibel. See if that helps.
All right. Great. Otherwise, I'll just fiddle a bit. In any case, yeah, that was a difficult time. I assume I would have spent about $30 trying to get through this game, because it's just like, you have 4 hit points.
I'm assuming you lose one for every question wrong.
For every question you get wrong. And that has the gall to tell you the percent of questions you get right for every encounter. And then you have a delightful thing like, you'll land on an inn and there'll be an innkeeper. It'll be like, oh, hello, you can rest at my inn and recover your health if you can answer this one quiz question. And he's just an enemy like everyone else, and he will punch you to death if you do not answer his trivia right. But after you do, you can rest at the inn.
That's hilarious. Was it fun, I guess?
I don't think it was a great game, but I recommend people who have just like little Discord communities get like 4 to 10 people together to try to groupthink things, because I revealed myself to be not very good at trivia, except that one time in like 6th grade where I was convinced that I liked baseball, so I knew a lot about the Boston Red Sox specifically. So every question that had to do with Fenway Park, I nailed.
Nice.
But there was just a delightful...
Uh-oh. That's a robot
Hate that.
voice.
Hate that for me.
Your face is just permanently... Oh no, I'm duplicating again! No!
Okay, we fixed it. We've
Okay,
solved
good,
it.
good.
The problem is fixed.
Technical issues.
Yeah, we'll live with them. So in any case, the final question is against this like Satan-esque figure going, you fool, you absolute moron. You've finally gotten all the way here. There's no chance. Your puny human mind cannot comprehend the legions of knowledge that I will have. You'll drown in your own ignorance. Question number 1. What year was the Declaration of Independence signed?
It's 1776, right?
You're asking me for assurance?
I don't know.
Do you know how many musicals are based on this? How many musicals are just titled 1776?
I'm just double checking. It's been like 15 years since I history class. What happens when you defeat the Devil's Trivia Show?
He is like, but I will return, but you can have the seed of knowledge. And then you're like, oh, wow, you're the smartest person. Now we can all be smart. Yay. It's a very dumb game, but there are a lot of these trivia style games that released in Japan at about this time. This is just the one that happened to be localized. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this sounds like a stupid idea to kill like 2 hours. And it was a stupid idea to kill like 2 hours.
Very nice.
So that went well. And then Halloween happened, so I played Castlevania.
Hey, just the original?
Just the original NES game. Guess what? That game is fucking awesome. Like, a lot of games on the NES, I don't think particularly are that captivating at this time, just because we have had so much iteration on them that there is usually a more streamlined version of them. Castlevania 1, I do not believe that on. I think Castlevania 1 is great. It is stiff, it is crunchy, but it is understandable. Everything that you do is a major commitment, but you always have time to react to it. It's not like Ghosts and Goblins, where something will spawn under your feet and you will die from it. Everything is very clearly laid out, and sometimes you'll be like, well, how the hell am I supposed to get past that? And sometimes you won't, but it's a strong, strong learning game. Like, each stage from start to finish is only like, 3 to 4 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
And Simon himself is such an effective character at just whipping things to death that it just feels great. Dracula is one of the all-time great final bosses for his first phase. Just getting that perfect rhythm down, because he's very simple. He just teleports and shoots 3 fireballs that he angles depending on your position. So figuring out the slow process of when to bait that and what the time is, and then going, okay, now do it 16 times in a row, is really, really satisfying to whittle the guy down.
Very nice. It's interesting how the, thanks to the identity that Castlevania has, its older NES roots still have aged decently well, because that's just what the NES was. It wasn't really fighting with the games, with the console shortcomings, it was more just working with them.
Exactly. And, there are obvious technical exploits that you can do, anyone vaguely familiar with Castlevania knows that you can just throw holy water at death and you will stun lock him forever. That said, the holy water is at the start of the stage, and there are checkpoints in between the start of the stage and the end of the stage. So if you don't get to him in that one life, you aren't executing that strategy. So even its cheese factor has a sense of balance to it. It almost feels deliberate just to have the item that can get you through the boss easily, but you have to do this hard stage perfectly. Not a Cookie Monster fan? No. Oh, Dracula 2 is a baby. That is a little man who gets stuck and he's T-posing, he goes, hi! And then he dies. He was much harder when I realized, oh, I have to actually whip him in the head? When I was just whipping his body and whiffing on everything, he was much more difficult.
Agreed.
But yeah, of NES classics, this is in my top 3 NES games, I would say. And on replaying it, that has not changed whatsoever.
What are the other 2, just out of curiosity?
Ninja Gaiden 2 and Joy Mech Fight.
Oh yeah, duh, of course. How could I forget? I feel bad.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, somewhere on the top 10 is DK Junior Math.
Absolutely.
It's gotta be.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect game.
It is. It's the flawless expression of the human condition through apes. Alrighty. And then I think I will do one more before passing it over to you.
Sounds good.
For a little bit. And that is, I beat Castlevania a little quick. So I wanted to go for, okay, what else is there? Because, like, the Castlevania collection was like $2 over Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Tried a couple of games on it, and I was like, Super Castlevania 4, don't jive with it. Castlevania 2 on Game Boy, don't jive with it. Castlevania 3, I already know I don't like you. But there was one game that hadn't been localized yet from that collection, and that is Kid Dracula. Are you familiar with Kid Dracula at all?
Very loosely based on its reputation. I don't know much about it.
Okay, Kid Dracula is like a Mega Man game, but you're Dracula.
It's about what I've heard, yeah.
Yeah.
What? Why am I looking at a KKK member with a swastika over on the hood?
Don't worry about it. They removed the swastika. He's a ghost.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Ignore that little part of it. He's a ghost. He's a ghost.
I just saw the playback on the YouTube video. I was like, why is there a huge spike right here?
Anyway, it's a cute little game. After every stage, you get like a new version of your Charge Buster. And some of them are just like, these is homing fireballs. You'll use this a lot. These is an ice spell that freezes enemies like Samus's Ice Beam. You'll use this never.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a couple like unique little ones, like one that reverses gravity so you can jump on the ceiling, or one that turns you into a bat for 5 seconds. But obviously you lose your charge shot while you're doing these, but if you hate platforming, that's fine. To sell people on this game, you go to America and one of the bosses is the Statue of Liberty. But you don't fight her. Instead, you answer trivia questions about America.
I need to know what these trivia questions are.
One of them was, what island am I located on? And one answer was Ellis Island. One was a Japanese island. And the other was Shadow Moses Island.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
The game is really easy until it hits level 7, and then it becomes really, really hard. You go in like this elevator going into space, and it's like an auto scroller where platforms are slowly descending, and you have to get it perfectly and know when enemies are coming. And if you don't beat the boss at the top, you gotta do the elevator again. With that said, this is a game with infinite continues. Just that stage and the final stage require perfect clears with no checkpoints. And there are a lot of bosses on that final stage. It's not too difficult to learn. It's like, this is my idea of just, this is a Nintendo game. It is good. It functions. It has some cute ideas. You will play it, and then you will probably forget about it, except for that one moment where the Statue of Liberty told you trivia questions.
That is pretty great.
But yeah, that's a good starting salvo for me. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just in general have had not much time to play any games. Like everything I'm bringing here, I've only played for like 3 or 4 hours each top. But first off, I will say this just because it kind of brings it back into public consciousness. I did watch Maximilian Dude play Spider-Man 2, but since that game falls under the whole strike thing, I'm going to respect that and just not talk about the game. And instead, just say that holy shit, changing Peter's face was not the right call. I don't care how much more accurate it feels. The fact of the matter is, he's got like 40% less face to work with. It's very disconcerting. Like, he's mathematically significantly less expressive.
I will say, because I've watched bits and pieces, because my friends and I are big fans of the character Venom. So Venom being in the game was like, ooh. No, we're watching a few cutscene compilations here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I'm not getting my hands on a PS5 anytime soon.
Same.
Yuri Lowenthal in this game. Damn, he do go.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. But did a great job. Just can't look at his face while he's talking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that all of the emotion that could have been shared in his face went directly into his throat.
Yes, absolutely agreed. It's hilarious because I know it annoys the director so much to keep getting asked about the face thing, and I hope it continues to annoy him because that was a dumb decision. As for actual games, I did make that little Heroes of the Storm video, which required me playing some Heroes of the Storm.
Right. Which
just... I reinstalled it to get footage for the game, and like a week later, I had to uninstall it because it just devours my free time. I cannot practice self-control with that experience. It's got like... We have like 90 plus heroes on 15 battlegrounds, each of which you can build in like half a dozen ways, and there's 10 per game. Like, it's limitless. Wow, that was English. Limitlessly replayable. Just feels like a dead swan song of a company I used to love, and it's just like, no, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here and not take into account reality.
Oh, lucky that your favorite Blizzard game is still available.
Yeah, give it time. Well, Microsoft, maybe. I don't know.
Let me look at these layoff notices and see how I feel about Microsoft.
They treat Age of Empires well. I can just look at that and not. I can just be that meme of the dog in the room where everything's on fire.
You can't just be like,
this is
but Age of Empires.
Yes, I can.
You can't just be like that.
I can happily be just Age of Empires. It's the only brand I care about under their umbrella.
You can't just like hold the sword for Microsoft and watch everything burning down around you, and you look at Age of Empires and are like, no, you're worth it.
At the very least, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But that's all I had with that. After Heroes of the Storm, I have been waiting, like, specifically waiting for Halloween to play this game. And of course, I was only able to spend 2 hours with the game, because that's just my life now. But I went back to the Dead Space remake.
Ooh, okay.
Which, that's a good game. That's a really, really good game. Probably said this the first time I talked about it, but this might just be the best remake I've ever seen of a video game. Turning the Ishimura into a seamlessly explorable ship instead of like splitting it into various different levels, it does so much for the immersion in this horror-like game. Because you can kind of plan on a like when you think an enemy will pop up in a set of levels, because you can just get a sense of like the general flow of the game. When you're freely exploring like an open ship, you have no idea when things are going to come after you.
Right. It loses its sense of progression and just becomes one seamless environment that still has like a similar sense of progression, but...
Exactly. It's like, it kind of gives this like overarching sense of, okay, I'm just being stalked constantly, and I just have to live with that. Especially because, I think I said this last time before, but like, worth doubling down on, the enemies are specifically designed to screw with you. They will spawn only to jump back up into vents and just never come back. Some break the vents to scare you, but then just scamper off. And then you start thinking, okay, there's a pattern. When they do this behavior, that one's gone, but this one's going to stay around. Only for you to run underneath the vent, and all of a sudden it just drops down onto your face. It's horrifying. I love it.
Excellent.
Like, I already loved Dead Space a lot. It's easily in my top 100. But this takes the game to, like, a whole nother level. The sound design is just the worst thing ever in the best possible way. I don't know how they recorded half of the screams that necromorphs make, but it is genuinely disconcerting. When you can actually shoot various limbs, you can just kind of see the flesh just slowly break away, but they're still charging at you, and it just really sells just how much you just can't stop these things from coming at you. It's terrifying, it's horrible, I hate it, my heart can't take it. 10 out of 10, I can't wait to play more. This is the best adrenaline rush game.
That is delightful. I hate that my point of relation is going like, oh, this sounds like me, and Crash Team Racing. Such a similar concept.
I mean, yeah, they're very similar games, obviously.
I don't mean to, like, belittle any ideas or, like, anything that Dead Space does to go like, haha, but Crash Bandicoot, though.
No, I totally respect that.
From the sense of taking something that I already loved and then altering it in a way that I didn't know that I wanted, but like I am so mechanically ingrained into the original that this feels like a seamless transition of what it is meant to be.
It's the best kind of remake.
Anyway, I'm just saying that Isaac Clarke and Crash Bandicoot are basically the same person.
Absolutely. Like, half the time you can't even tell it's not Crash underneath that mask.
Exactly.
Yo, would a Crash Bandicoot horror game actually work? What would that even look like?
Gosh, you could probably do some things if, like, you really doubled down on Nina Cortex. Like, there's some good lore there. Do you know that she has robot arms because she hugged things too much as a child and Cortex hated it, so he cut off her arms and replaced them with arms that would crush animals?
Wow! No, I did not.
It's played for laughs.
Matt Blink is asking, should I play new Dead Space over old Dead Space? I think the new one is just the old one, but better. Like, you're getting the same experience, just more.
Is Isaac still silent?
No, he is. He does speak every now and then, but it's very, very brief glimpses, and he's a very grounded character. Like, you don't get any of that, like, Nathan Drake, like, quips. Like, even in the second game, they had a little bit of that, but here, he's just kind of scared, and it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. No, Cortex is good. He's a good dad/uncle.
Also,
it's just that one thing. He made some mistakes.
Just the one thing. Just chopped off her arms so she'd murder any pets she wanted to keep. But apart from that,
it's just one thing. It's okay. He only wanted to do that and conquer the world a little. But my question that I wanted to give was, does Isaac speaking in any way or being a more interactive character change any context in Dead Space?
A little bit. I think, yeah, I think so. Because in the first one, like, silent protagonist, it's very easy to just slot yourself into his shoes, and that's like, it's not Isaac going through the issue murder, it's you. Here, you are feeling like you are the character. However, it enhances the sense of just psychological horror he's going through. Because Dead Space is a very psychologically horrifying game. It's like you're in his head and you're slowly watching his grip on reality loosen. And making him a more, like, grounded character does help with just contrast the instability.
Right.
But yeah, good game. Loved it. Can't wait to play more.
Good.
And then, I think our last... Was this last one? Oh, I have two more. But these are all fairly simple. Let me just grab some background footage. It's that quarter-monthly time when I get to talk about the latest Age of Empires 2 expansion. Yay!
Cool.
Again, I think I said this last month, but unfortunately, this game is now more expensive than a traditional game. It now costs $70 to experience the 20-plus years lovely history of Age of Empires 2. So tragic.
That's the cost of a Zelda game.
Yeah, and it'll last you for like 5 times as long. I can't really add much more about this game. It's just a phenomenal RTS that keeps growing bigger, but I can say 2 things with this. First off, there are so many campaigns in this game now, just covering all different walks of history, so many different time periods and civilizations, that you can actually kind of follow the shifts of power across various regions of the world by going from one campaign to another, like going to Tamerlane's and just seeing how he just completely decimated the world, and just seeing like 5 different campaigns springing off of that from the vacuum of power. It's just a very neat just exploration of world history, just being able to go back and be like, oh yeah, this is just like, it's almost like it's a full story, which is kind of cool. Other thing, my one big complaint about these games, like the single blemish, is that despite showing really cool looks at all sorts of different civilizations from across the world, every single unit looks the same. As in, like, the basic infantry will have, like, your basic sword and shield with Western Europe armor, regardless of if it's French, Burmese, Ethiopian, or Mayan. But they are starting to make, like, really small steps towards giving civilizations more regionally styled units. Like, they gave the Persians a really sick-looking chainmail-covered cataphract instead of, like, the basic Frank paladin, which is cool. I love that. More of that, please.
Nice.
But that's all I have to say about that game, because it's just not much. It's one of my favorite games. Love it. Last but not least, probably my favorite experience from this month. I had a friend from high school contact me out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I'm gathering a group of people for an 8-player LAN Halo night. Do you want to join in on that?" Which, you know, that's scientifically proven to be one of the most exciting offers one human can offer another human.
Damn, that's some real Big Bang Theory dialogue you just gave right there.
Shut up.
Like, hang on. Don't even talk right now. We have to pause for the laughter.
But seriously, like, that's so fun.
They're still going. They're still laughing.
Shut the fuck up. I'm cocking. Like, I still think that Halo Infinite has been, like, horribly mismanaged. Like, it's a perfect example of a live service game done poorly. But god damn, is that game still fun. Like, the simple addition of that grapple hook and the barrels of just energy juice that you can toss at people and be able to combine those two things together. Just yoinking them from across the map and tossing them at your buddies. God, it's so fun, and it becomes insane when you're in a packed room with a bunch of people just reliving their childhoods. I've forgotten how fun it is to nail somebody with a sticky grenade and just hear them behind me just screaming out of panic. It's great. It's great. Which, you know, it's not exactly thanks to the game, but
no, yeah,
it's a lovely reminder that even though the cultural significance behind them is kind of gone, that LAN parties are still the best things in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Having that many people together and just having the accountability of having someone that you can physically threaten matters so much for Halo.
Absolutely. Really, most multiplayer games.
Well, I agree, but Halo specifically, because it breeds a very certain kind of environment.
No, absolutely. It's hilarious, because all those people are, like, Mormon, so their version of cursing is just like, what the fetch, dude? And I have to just sit there the whole time being like, I have to, like, keep 80% of what's in my mouth from coming out of my mouth.
Uh-huh.
Which makes it very hard to play Halo, but still so much fun. If any younger members of our audience haven't tried, like, a LAN party just because everything's online now, highly recommend seeking one out. They are
thoroughly
so
agreed.
Much fun.
I didn't get it until later in life because no one in my group of friends cared at all. And, like, most of us were Nintendo kids, and the people who had Halo played it on Xbox Live. So it was just never a thing. Like, I didn't own an Xbox, so I would go to people's houses, play Beaver Creek, die, and then go to the next game where they renamed Beaver Creek into something else.
I mean,
but it would still be there.
It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but again, I didn't get that layer in life. You think I got Conquer before I was like 15?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I guess.
But yeah, no, the experience of connecting with other players and just having that full in-person setup, but everyone is close enough and not like on their own monitor that you're not like solely focused in, where you still have that party environment is magical.
Yeah. Just the joys of split screen.
Yes,
I love it.
God, yeah.
I guess to say a little bit about Infinite itself, it does seem like the game's a little better. Like, there are certainly more maps and modes. Like,
I haven't heard anything good about it in, like, 2 years.
No, yeah, it does not have as much additional content as you would expect from a live service game that's been out for 2 years. Like, it feels like it got a single patch from when I started playing. I stopped playing until I went there again.
From all I heard, the first month was amazing, and everyone was so happy, and it was perfect because it was at the end of the year and toward the Game Award seasons, so everyone could praise it right then and there and say it was great, and then ever since then, it has been a constant decline or nothing from what I've heard.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a decline, because I think the core gameplay is, like, good. But there's
decline
in
just satisfaction.
Nothing. Yes,
I would say
that's good. That's good. Like, I think I saw one additional gun for a game that's been out for 2 years with this kind of model, which
okay.
you know, that's a little.
Yeah.
But you know, still fun with friends.
I getcha.
I think that's all for my smaller ones. Yeah, it's all for my smaller ones.
All right, I'm just going to dig in for a while here, because I got...
You have a lot more than me.
3.
Although, a lot of
6 more.
A lot of those I can also comment on, especially the longer ones. So, we'll be good.
Perfect. So the next game on my list is World of Horror. This game has been in early access for a very long while, and it officially released in October. So it is now a 2023 game.
Style.
Yes, this is a procedurally generated horror game in the style of the mangaka Junji Ito, who is an incredibly famous horror manga artist. Best known for... He's one of the few people who I think utilize the fact that he's in a book well. Because you know the tension of, like, there is a scary thing behind a door in a video game and you don't want to go through because the anticipation of what it's going to be is terrible.
Yes.
Or just that feeling of, don't go in there. Don't go in there. He does that, but he times it so you have to turn the page in order to do it.
Ooh, that's fun.
So he has the tension play out for full panels, and you know, because it's slowly, incrementally coming into place, and you have to be the one to turn the page and get the scare. And it's just a delightfully unsettling style that just creates true horror in essentially the misunderstanding of what you're looking at.
Yeah.
This takes that style and applies it to titles like Darkest Dungeon or The Oregon Trail. So just like, imagine that you have your own little procedural mystery game where you're like, I have to figure out about this rumor of the girl at the school who has scissors and she cuts your mouth open if you don't say that she's beautiful. And then you'll have like a little side quest of like, explore the town. which you can do, but every time that you go to explore something or get more information, a random event will pop up, and that could hurt your overall stats, or that could go, you were cursed and are slowly succumbing to your own insanity. And you sort of have to balance your actual physical health and your sanity meter. As if either of those bottom out, you're donezo. Like, it's absolutely gone. And this game is really, really nicely paced in the sense that it allows you to go through, it's like challenges you to go through like 4 scenarios in a row, and it will randomly generate them.
Okay.
Like, a lot of sailors have been going out to sea and never coming back. Investigate that. Okay, you survived that, but you saw an old god, and also the god that is ruling over here is getting more power, so now your legs don't work as good anymore. Because everyone is cursed and thinks that the ground is sand, quicksand.
Oh, okay.
It's like, okay, now solve the mystery of the videotape where if you watch it, you are initiated into a cult, and it feels good if you unalive yourself. You're like, that sounds like the best decision videotape that I'm watching. I'ma do that right now. And you have to use all of you have to like sacrifice your stats in order to not fall into the temptation. But if you got the book from earlier on that told you all of the notes that people had taken about the videotape, then you can resist it. And you can get like 3 or 4 different endings to these mini stories. To these like little... Yeah, because, like, you can get the extra thing, you can not get the extra thing, you can fight it off, you can do it in another way. It's that really interesting thing of simultaneously going for other endings and digging into other runs. And sort of that thing of, like, okay, I need to survive this. My attack that will kill has a 30% chance to hit, but I don't know if I can afford it to take a hit if I use my weaker attack. Just that sort of... Because combat plays out like a turn-based RPG, sort of. Yeah. It's... Outside of you not being familiar with the visual inspiration, it's a game I feel that you would enjoy quite a bit more than me.
Oh, okay. I mean, I do really adore this art stuff. I've been staring at it this entire time.
Oh, yeah, it's captivating.
Memorized me. And it's also so fun to see, like, okay, there's little things moving in the background. Just being like, oh, this isn't real. This seems fun.
Yes. But it's that sort of just multi-run Darkest Dungeon FTL feel of, like, slowly gathering things and realizing, oh, God, I am so screwed with this.
But more as like a mystery kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're selling me hard.
Yeah. Like, I will be honest, this is not a game that I am personally going to sink a ton of time into. It's not... It's a lot of time that feels not necessarily cruel in the same way Darkest Dungeon is, which is, like, more positional based, but feels more procedurally based. Where, like, it's mainly based on its stats and rolls and dealing with them and mitigating losses, rather than Darkest Dungeon, which is more reactive, I feel.
Okay, no, I feel you feel like you have a little more control over what goes wrong and like be able to react to it. In Darkest Dungeon. Okay, yeah, I'm following.
Yes, or Darkest Dungeon is more about adapting to the short term, whereas I think World of Horror and FTL are more about the long term plan. I would say.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
And I like that less. But that is simply to appeal to me. If this is something that feels like it would interest you, and I would recommend it to you specifically, Duke, then I would go for it. Because, like, this is immaculate at what it does.
All right. I am actually going to write that down, because this does speak to me.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we want.
Okay,
Let's see. I then played a game called Princess Maker 2 Refine. And this is a game that I actually have quite a bit of history with. The original Princess Maker 2 was released in 1993, and the company went under very, very quickly. So the original version of this game was shareware for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And there was a time where I was quite poor, quite unable to afford anything. So having a game that people essentially said, yeah, it is legally okay for you to take this right now and just play it, was like, oh, thank God. And my shitty computer that can barely limp through Warcraft 3 can run this? That's amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So to break down what this game is it's... How do I put this best?
I do remember a long time ago, a video from Peanut Butter Gamer about this specific game. So I do kind of understand what it is. It's... God, I don't know how to describe it either.
Right. It's like Tokimeki Memorial by way of Harvest Moon. Or to put it simply, the social parts of every Persona game. The idea is that
I was going to say a Tamagotchi but it's actually a person that you raise, but I think that's a little
also
better.
That. The idea is that you're given a daughter by the gods, and they're like, hey, you're a great hero. Raise this daughter. Make her really cool, okay? And then you have to sort of decide what she is doing you schedule out her schedule 10 days at a time. So like you go, okay, for 10 days, you are going to work on a farm. For 10 days, you are going to study military strategy. For 10 days, you are going to goof off and have fun. Mm-hmm. And just placing those out, and with the idea of eventually talking to enough people, raising her social status so that she can have a good life. And let me tell you, this game is certainly a CRPG-styled game wherein you will go, okay, you can go to the farm, and she will screw up at her job, and she will only make like 12 gold, and then she will stop doing her job, and then your butler will go, your daughter has turned into a delinquent. And you go, what? Why? And then you look up some stats and you realize it's because you didn't send her to church, so her morals are too low. So you need to raise her morals so that she knows not to mess up. But she also needs stamina, so you need to raise her stamina by going to the farm, but the farm raises her stress level by 3 per day. And if her stress level exceeds her morality or her stamina, then she'll either refuse to work or has a chance of getting sick, which means that you have to spend more money, and suddenly you are out of money and unable to do anything except send her to the farm, which she won't do because she is too stressed, and she just robbed you of $100 so that she could buy a doll for herself because she's a delinquent because you're a terrible parent.
You know what? This sounds like a pretty accurate parenting simulator.
But then you get in, and then you understand what you're doing. And I realized, oh no, I think I love this game. Because eventually you get into a system of like, okay, I figured out how to pass this step. Now this other job is open to me. She failed at being a hairdresser. What would improve hairdressing ability? Art and sensitivity. I've taken her to art classes. I am out of the ability to work at the art class right now. But I'm going to use her art skills to make her better at masonry. And I will use the masonry class, but the masonry class is making her less elegant. So I will take her to dance classes so that will offset the cost of that. But I still have to take her to the initial class that I want her to have. And obviously having some combat classes on top of that would be a benefit. But I'm running out of money. So I guess I will send her into the woods to fight monsters and find some treasure chests. Because also there's a dungeon crawling aspect, and this is the only Princess Maker game that has dungeon crawling.
How old is this child when this happens?
10?
What a bizarre game.
I will admit, this game is very, this was made in the 90s. Your child does, in fact, have a bust stat. Because, of course. It only affects one role in the game, which is, will this old dragon find you attractive and give you sexy panties? But at the same time, my daughter killed a dragon, saved an oasis because we ripped off a merchant and allowed a fairy to be born by placing it into the holy oasis. Then we went to the demon's abode. She took a nap. She woke up and the devil was there. And he was like, hey, kid, what's up? Do you want a drink? And she was like, nuh-uh, I don't want a drink. And he's like, dude, you have some cool morals. I'm going to raise one of your stats, but give me some of your morality. And my daughter's like, okay, cool. Make me really strong. And then I used the strength from the devil to go to the war god, and I beat the war god. And then Venus was at the top of the stairs that the war god was guarding, and she said, I'm going to make wow, you shouldn't have met me. This is heaven. You shouldn't be here yet. I'm going to give you 100 points in elegance right now. Go back down. And then the war god was like, that was really cool. Here's my sword. I'm going to go be dead now. And then I used the war god's sword to win the combat tournament, and everyone was very impressed and said I was a really good dad.
Yes, that sounds like the life of a child that has been impeccably raised.
In my top 100? Yes. Yes. I had such a blast with this game. It is not for everyone. But, like, if you want to experience the social sim aspect of Persona with only slightly less creepiness, but still slightly less, and also you only want it to take like 7 hours instead of 70?
I need to know, what is getting booted off of your list for this one?
I don't know, probably a bad game like Chrono Trigger or something. I don't know. We'll go over it. I'm waiting for a year to pass since we updated the list.
Yeah, no, it's same.
Before I do anything. But I have it on my short list of, no, this is going on. But yeah, the games are terribly translated as well, so there's some fun with that. I believe 1, 2, 3, and 5 are available on Steam. I don't know why 4 isn't available. The remake of 3 that's on Steam is also worse than the regular version of 3. From what I understand, 2 and 5 are the good ones, and that the rest of them are all the black sheep of the franchise. And I think 2 is getting a remake this December.
Oh, okay.
So if you are interested, I think the shareware version is still out there. So you can go ahead and wrangle that. I don't really recommend Refine all that much. It kind of smooths out the original PC graphics, and the sprite work just looks kind of, you know, when they give an HD version and they just kind of smear the sprites.
Oh god, that was Heroes of Might and Magic, and it just looks like mud.
The only addition is that they have Japanese voice acting, and that sounds nice when your daughter is telling you, like, Father, thank you. You know, there was a lot of difficulties, but I really appreciated our time together. Thank you. And you're like, oh, I actually feel kind of nice. Why did you become a writer? Is it because I sent you to one poetry class?
Should have got her into medicine instead, man. That's
I tried. She went to so many science classes, but she did one poetry class. She aced all 4 of the tournaments in this game, okay? She was amazing at combat. She was the best artist in the world. She was the best at cooking, and she was the best at dancing. She was incredible. A quadruple threat. But because she took one poetry class, she became a novelist.
Yeah, poetry's dangerous, man. It's like drugs. You gotta keep your kids away from it. That one decision moved an entire decimal point on how much gold she can make for the rest of her life.
Yeah, poetry is like drugs. You have too much and you die.
Glad it was fun. I've always heard this is a goofy game.
Yeah. It's a game that I thought I would go like, okay, let's give this a fair judgment now that I'm older. And just like see where it lies, and then me realize, I feel like I did when I was 14. Oh no, I'm addicted. Not people will know the name of Sadoko Gex, of House Gex.
You took someone from House Gex to a poetry class. You're just asking for disaster.
Well, the gods said I was an awesome father.
Oh, okay,
because she married a really fancy knight because like everyone loved her. She was so popular that the king was like, "You should talk to other people. I am beneath you."
Okay.
You are so good at fighting. Okay, moving on because I will keep talking about this because like little moments like that just get me every time.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I got a comment on the Diddy Kong Racing video I did on Crunch that said that, there was another rare racing game on the N64. And Ludwig von Drake is like if Crunch were good. So I was like, I'll bet I could make a video out of this. So there was enough to talk about in this game that I do in fact have a script written about it now.
Yes!
And that is Mickey's Speedway USA.
I love this game so much. This is my favorite. Well, I probably should put this on my top 100. I love this game.
Do you really love this game?
Yeah, this. I was playing this right alongside Kirby 64 when I was a kid. It was this.
Oh my god.
Hey You Pikachu, which is not on my top 100, and Kirby 64.
This game is wild because at first I touched it and I was like, this game ain't shit. This game is nothing. This game is for babies. There's no power sliding. You just take lines. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. And the items all suck. I'm not wrong. The items do all suck.
That is fair.
They're all really bad. I'm like, Pete is going to cruise through this game nice and easy. And then I get to intermediate mode and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, everyone is kicking my ass. Oh no, life is terrible right now. I have to do every race perfectly and you only get 2 continues?
Only 2?
And if you get 5th or 6th, you die?
Indeed.
And I go, oh no, that's going to be hard. I don't think I'm going to unlock Ludwig von Drake. I don't think I can get there. And then you unlock Louis.
Yes.
And then
that
the game
broken bastard.
The game stops being challenging at all. Everything that you learned earlier, all of the lines you figured out, unlearn them. All of them. Just play the game, hold the button, steer the boy, and he gets to the end every single time. The game isn't even a challenge anymore.
Nope, not even a little bit.
It is pathetic. Unlock the 4th course set? Easy. Washington, D.C., no problem. We've conquered the White House. It's great. One nation under Louis Duck. Hit Malibu, it's a little rocky, but you cruise through it eventually. And then you unlock Frantic Finale. And you realize, oh no. Oh. Louis isn't the cheat code. He is necessary. Because I get to just Hawaii. And I realize, oh, this is really hard. Oh, these coconuts just stop you and then you lose.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, okay, I'm going through it. I'm getting through it. I'm managing. I survive. How bad can Oregon be?
You never ask how bad Oregon being can be.
I
Oregon
would
will
like
chew
to
you up and
apologize
spit
to
you out.
everyone who has ever lived in Oregon. Your morning commute is the scariest thing in the world. You all are masters of masculinity and or femininity in the sense that you are the best at cars that I have ever seen. Your ability to drive over a bridge that should not exist, that should exist as a shortcut for insane people to take, but is required in every single lap, and if you fall off of it once, you lose the ability to play the game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. And like, I can feel the Diddy Kong Racing DNA. I know how to take these lines. These are literally assets from Greenwood Village. I recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
And just knowing, wow, this game is so much worse than Diddy Kong Racing.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know if it's a very good game. I just love it.
And then I'm like, okay, don't worry. America can't be all that bad. And then the word Texas pops up, and I go, fuck. But then Texas isn't that bad. It's actually pretty fun. And I'm like, okay, what do you consider to be the Rainbow Road of America? What is the greatest possible challenge that this game could offer? And then it goes, Colorado. I'm like, okay.
Have you seen those mountains, man? It's scary.
I've been on them for a very long time now. I'm very well acquainted. That is the meanest track. It is so mean that the computer actively cannot drive on it and will just drive off of the road because they are not programmed to be able to handle those turns.
Make sure this is in the background for footage, just because it is a ridiculous... Like, the map is just that one bottom left just shoop.
It is the most insane course design I have ever seen. I don't know why they chose this Mickey Mouse game to go, we hate children and we want them to suffer.
Now, I remember spending hours upon hours trying to get through it. Oh god, that little ice bridge that you have to jump over.
Oh, you don't have to jump over it. That's optional. But, like, where else are you going to use the spritzer?
No, exactly.
Because you use the turbo boost anywhere else and you die.
Instantly.
So I've never played a game where the difficulty curve goes, I've never had it peak in the middle and then at the 75% point go, this is a baby game that is easier than easy mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately go to, this game has made me its bitch. I don't know what to say on this. I don't think it's a good game. I think it's a step down from Diddy Kong Racing in, like, every way.
But isn't it so interesting, though?
Yes! It is fascinating.
I remember being so pissed off by this game, because I think to unlock, what's the red duck? Huey?
Huey.
Yeah, you can't unlock Huey. I think you had to, like, connect something.
You
something like that.
Yeah, you need the Game Boy Color game and to connect the transfer pack.
Yeah, which just upset me so much. I was so excited to get, okay, I know these characters, I needed all three triplets, and then it was the professor, and it was just like, wait, but that's the whole game. But where's my third duck?
Yeah. He's there. It's the professor.
This has been a nightmare of a 99% completion for my entire life.
Well, all you need to do, you can do it at any time. All you need to do is find an eBay copy of Mickey Speedway GBC. The worst part is Huey is actually statistically the best to handle that final.
I know! I looked it up!
So yeah, this is a game If it's on your top 100, how?
Pure nostalgia. I need to download and play this again. Because I'm remembering the joy, but I'm also looking at this, playing these tracks and be like, wow, there's just not a lot here. But wow, those turns, though.
Uh-huh. No, it is the feeling of, oh god, Oregon. How can it get worse than this?
Colorado.
I see.
Thank you for bringing this. This was a delightful blast from my past.
Absolutely. Please let me know if you want to edit that video specifically for me.
I might. We'll see.
Right. All right, I think I'll do one more and then pass it over to you.
Okay.
And then I have two more after that. So I also played through, because this came out of early access as well, Slay the Princess.
I remember you talking about this,
yes,
a year and a half ago.
Yes, and it has been now fully released. So what I said previously was this is a game that sort of remembers your choices, wherein you go into a cabin and you're tasked with killing a princess, and depending on what you do in that cabin, you will be looped back and then have to do it again, but you will gain a Disco Elysium voice in your head that is also voiced by Jonathan Sims, who is also the narrator and is also you. This now gives that a proper endgame and proper continuations for it. And it's hard for me to continue speaking about the game without sort of playing its hand, but it is that combination of novelty, of just seeing where you can push things, and the game very much knowing that is what you are doing, and either punishing or playing with you for that, combined with an actually pretty strong meta-narrative. And gosh, the visual stylization of this game is beautiful. It is necessary for some of the macabre depictions that they go with, some of the playing with surreality that it goes with.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just looking at the room with the door and the windows, and the way that all the pencil lines are just ever so slightly dancing around gives a really just unsettling vibe to the whole experience.
In every loop where you go back there, the design of that room will change based on your actions.
The design of the princess as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. But that is the first step to tell you what you have done and what has changed in this given loop. And there's just some delightful things, you're looking at this table and you're going that perspective is not correct. And then the narrator will go, and to the side is a table with legs all different lengths, unsettlingly somehow still in the room. And then you go, I get it. Who's my favorite voice real quick? Gosh, which is the one that just wants to fight? I loved him.
Oh gosh, I remember watching a playthrough of this. I know the hero's gung-ho about taking down the princess, but I don't think it's quite...
No, it's like Voice of the Cheated or something, I think it is. Because he just feels screwed. He's like, okay, this time we take the knife. Okay, this time we take the knife and we throw it. Okay? Because she can't react fast enough. And she's like, that is cheating. That is the worst. I hate this. My gosh, the stories that I went through in this were just absolutely delightful. It is a game where you will not see everything in a single playthrough. And that can be frustrating because you will get to the end of this game and you will feel that you are missing something from it. You are missing a satisfying conclusion from it because it is impossible to parse all of the information that you need. Now, obviously, multiple playthroughs will, heal this and fix this, but due to the formatting of the game, it sort of robs you of the natural narrative flow in order to better commit to what it's trying to do.
was gonna say, do you have to like do the whole process over again once you complete the game? It's kind of like a brave default sort of deal.
Yes, but there are enough permutations that you can probably do unique permutations. The issue is just like if you are looking for that closure and you're like, no, I have to see the ghost princess now.
Okay. Gosh, it really is such an unsettling design. Just like massive eyes, huge shadows over the eyes, and just the slight dancing of the pencil drawings. It's
Mm-hmm.
like she's not scary, but it's just that uncanny valley crippling up your back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, otherwise, fantastic voice performances by Jonathan Sims and, oh gosh, what is her name? I had it in my head this morning. Slay the Princess. I think it's like Nicole Goodnight. That was it. Fantastic stage name. Or just name in general, if not stage name. But fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Just does a tremendous job. They do so much with like vocal layering on it. Because like if you get like a dead princess, she'll have her lines all disparaged and whatnot, and then a second track where she is whispering it slightly off synced with the rest of it, which creates this incredible echo effect that I love, that gives you this combination of like dispassioned and incredibly defeatedly passioned. Like, for all this game does, it has polished it to a mere sheen. And if it interests you, go for it, please.
At least watch a playthrough. It's too interesting to just let pass by.
Mm-hmm. Voice of the Skeptic. Skeptic is good. He was my final soldier. And I just want everyone to know, I did in fact get the ending where you fist fight the princess, and I fist fought so good, you guys. I was so good at getting punched in the face. And then getting punched in the place where the face should be.
Oh.
And then getting punched in the, there's not much left there, oh god. Even she's a little not into it now.
Less punching, just being like, okay, let's just brush this away. Okay.
And I got the achievement, and the achievement was titled, I Didn't Hear No Bell.
Nice.
It was great. Alrighty, I'm going to take a break, so you do the rest of yours, because my next two will probably take a while.
Okay. I will do both of them, because I don't think this will take especially long. Alright, let me get the background stuff for it, because probably the big game that everybody here cares about that came out this month is Super Mario Wonder. I got that, played that.
We're in the weird position where you have played it and I have not.
Yeah, I was about to say. Just like, what happened there?
I don't
things. Traditionally like 2D Marios very much. Like, I have tried them. I had a bit of fun with like the Wii one. That was more playing with siblings than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they've never hooked me. Just seeing what Wonder is doing, all the absurd things, the little flowers, the new style. Like, pushing past, like, self-imposed limits, like, just not having Daisy or Yoshi playable, like, those really weird, just rules they would never break. Like, it was attention-grabbing. Like, it felt like there was, like, a fresh new start for the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. And playing through this has reaffirmed that. So this game is absolutely gorgeous. It controls flawlessly, the music is so charming. Sound design is great, although the jumps annoy me just a little bit. Very high, very just abrupt, and you do it a lot. It's such a great annoying when you... Yeah. Anyways, but I cannot stress how delightful the Wonder Flowers make the game. It makes every level so exciting, just wondering what all the crazy things are going to do this time around. Will enemies burst into song? Will I become the enemy? Maybe the level will fill with water. Maybe it'll turn upside down. You just never know, and it's really fun.
Am I to understand every level has a unique one?
From what I saw, yes. Everything is unique in some way.
All right. I was wondering if it was unique or if it was like there's a group of like 15 Wonder Flowers that rotate out.
I do know that certain ideas are like expanded upon later, but they're the ideas you want to be expanded upon later.
Okay. All right.
And most of them seem unique. And it's just in that moment, just basking in an experience that's so full of passion, so wonderfully designed, that I just have to sit there, just sit back and think to myself, so this must mean that on a fundamental level, I just don't like Mario, do I? I cut the music out and everything. I said that too.
Well done.
This isn't me saying that this is a bad game. Everything I just said is absolutely true. This is wonderfully designed. I think for the people that this game is designed for, fantastic. You're going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is me realizing that this franchise is probably just never going to be for me. There's a few things I value in the games I play that Mario in general is just missing. Mario is missing altogether.
Look at you. You're so proud of yourself.
I am very proud of myself. I haven't had many controversial things on this podcast. I'm very excited. For one, I can't bring myself to care about these worlds of any Mario game, really. The game is never going to have me learn anything meaningful about... Like, world building's very important to me, and there's nothing here to latch onto. It's not going to develop in any interesting ways. The levels aren't going to connect or tell a story. Like, good example, the Tropical Freeze polar bear level where you got the whole...
Yeah. Juicy
like,
jungle,
that
yes.
kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff, but Mario levels feel so... How do I say this?
They're obstacle courses.
Yeah, Mario is a game that, for better and worse, is designed to be the gamiest video game that ever did gamed. And for what it's trying to do, that's fantastic. But, like, I play video games because, like, the reason I love them is that it feels like a mishmash of, like, every other art form I love. It brings together music and visual stories, and visual just art styles and storytelling, all these things, and meshes them together into an interactive medium that lets the player experience all of this at once. Mario is focused solely on that interactivity side of it, what makes a game, which it's the best at doing that. I think it's one of the best at doing that. But, like, I want the other pieces too, and Mario just doesn't have them. Like, for similar reasons.
I don't entirely agree with you in that assessment. For instance, Super Mario World, in specific, having basically the same song playing through the game was a conscious choice on the composer Koji Kondo, who was like, this game is about having a progressive, interconnected world, is about exploring this world, and he wanted to play with the motif of that world, the constant backing instrument of the da 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 da, to follow you throughout the entire thing and be able to tell a story as it properly progresses. I don't think that there was enough to do in that game because there's only like 7 different variations of that song over 96 exits. So there's not a whole lot that can be done with that, but there was an attempt. There were ideas for it. I do feel like Mario does have a world. It just leans into it more or less depending on the game. And this is kind of disappointing to hear because I thought that Wonder was leaning more into it.
I have gotten, I think to World 3 and haven't seen anything of the sort. So maybe I'm just not far enough, but I did get curious and, like, start looking up, how does this game move forward? Because I just kind of lost interest in playing it, and it did reaffirm that, this is a Mario game. This is going to be kind of just... The level design is the most important thing. I think it should be in a Mario game. Like, that checks out to me.
Did you play Sunshine?
I did play Sunshine. It's my favorite Mario game.
That That tracks.
Yeah, I know.
Because, like, you were saying all of these things, and I'm like, if he has not played Mario Sunshine, he's going to feel really dumb.
Yeah, which, like, that might have, like, poisoned my, like, expectations for Mario, I guess, because I do genuinely love Delfino Island and just how everything changes as you go through the levels. Like, this is scratching that itch that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the conflict is stupid, but it's a conflict that I can get invested in. Here, it's just it's the
the
same
most
one.
immaculately voice acted conflict I've ever heard.
Yes, it's so stupid, and I love that. I think I could get over it if I enjoyed the gameplay, but I think it's another layer where I just... how do I put this part? I need another layer on top of it. I need some of that, like, precision combat of, like, the Metroids and the Hollow Knights, or some roguelike, or run and gun, or just something. Like, I go through 2D platformers, I'm kind of just feeling like, okay, but where's the next half? Which I think that's just more of a me problem than anything else. It's just not the kind of gameplay for me.
No. It's a bit understandable. Because once you are familiar and acquainted with the basic challenge that Mario has offered to you, then you want further iteration. For years, the continuation of the Mario series has been its power-ups. Like, where do I go when I get exceptional at this? Like, well, you learn how to best use the raccoon leaf. You learn how to best use the cape feather. That is supposed to sort of be the eventual end goal. I would say starting with New Super Mario Brothers, they often lean into more hyper specialization rather than a pure speedrunning thing. Which, to NSMB's credit, I do love the shell. I know I'm in the minority that I love the shell. But it feels like I'm playing a completely different game, and I love that game.
Yeah, I remember that shell as well. That was enjoyable. This might be a hot take. I actually kind of hate Mario power-ups, I've learned. Especially the Fire Flower. Like, I hate how
Fire
the
Flower
Fire
I can
Flower
see.
feels. It's outside of Galaxy. Galaxy's Fire Flower was fun. Like, that actually had some, like, solid sound design and impact, and it was fun watching it bounce around the... But, like, he's just a limp 8-year-old baseball throw that mainly bounces...
I like it when it's super baby. When it's like the SNES sound where it goes, blick, blick.
Yeah. But it's just, sometimes you hit enemies and it takes, like, 5 hits to bring them down. It's just...
There's no feedback on the fireballs. I agree.
I'd rather just have the extra life. It's a weird way where it's simultaneously not very satisfying combat while simultaneously making all the other enemies just kinda non-obstacles, because you're just clearing the game in front of you, but just at a slower pace, so it's not as fun to dodge around them. I will say that the Wonder Fruits do provide, like, that extra layer I'm looking for, but it unfortunately creates this feedback loop where I'm only playing through the levels to get to those fruits, and it creates a sense of huge disappointment when the fruits end. And there's a lot more level than there is fruits, and the lows last longer than the highs, and I just got burnt out.
Do, like, the badges not assuage this somewhat? Do they not help this? Because
really.
that's why I was... Oh.
Like, maybe
because I was looking for
further.
that. Because, like, the reason I didn't initially buy the game is just that I know what Mario is. I know Mario is good. And unless someone is going to hit me with the wowie zowie, which I know this game does, but, like, I need to feel the wowie zowie. I don't need Mario to tell me that it's wowie zowie. Then I'm, like, obviously I'm going to eventually play it, but it's not my immediate priority to play the new Mario 2D platformer. And what I heard from it was that the combination of the Wonder Fruits and the badges were doing a lot to make more unique environments for Mario and more unique individual challenges.
That might be the case. I might just not have gotten far enough to really feel the mix.
All right.
Like, I don't want to disparage it from, like, it's just not doing enough. I may have just burnt out too quickly, but
No, I'm not like criticizing or anything. I'm just saying that is what I had a combination of heard and hoped. So.
Hmm. Oh, I don't want anyone to come across this and be like, oh yeah, this is a bad game. It's not. It's just not for me.
No, I get it, but I think like it's interesting to explore as to why.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, it's fun to go, it is not for me. Peasants. You're amused with Mario. I'm bred on finer stock. And then I pull out Crash 4 from the background, and you go, OMG, Crash High.
No, yeah, that's a good one. That's the game I'm looking for.
No, I can't wait for the point where I just make you play all the Crash games, and you, like, have a second childhood. And you are like, Dr. Embryo would have been my obsession at age 6.
I will say, even then, it was kind of lackluster because Rayman Legends did it better. But there were a couple of Wonder Fruits that are like musical levels. Mm-hmm. Those are phenomenal. If that was all of them, that would have carried the game for me on its own.
So you know,
oh,
I felt in the same way. I felt like it was just straightforward platforming.
So you kind of cut out there. Can you say it one more time?
Oh, yes. Legends didn't stick for me because I felt similarly. It was straightforward platforming.
That's interesting.
Like, there were individual levels that I liked, but it was all dream-like sequences that didn't really stream into one another. It was disconnected. What you're feeling from Wonder, I feel like I felt with Rayman Legends.
I can totally see that as well. Where's the difference for me, then?
Nostalgia.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, probably. Yeah, it's just Rayman.
Yeah.
I think for Rayman Legends has, like, Wonder Fruit areas that last a lot longer, I feel.
Okay.
Like stuff like the getting turned into a duck and just giant luchadors chasing after you while they're eating through cheese that you're trying to tunnel through. Like,
okay.
It just gets insaner, and I appreciate the... I feel like I'm getting the Rayman Legends zaniness when the Wonder Fruits activate with more interesting gameplay. If I could, like, fuse these two games together, that would be the 2D platformer for me.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that's all I have to say about it. Actually, no, that's not all I have to say about it. I looked up the final boss, which I will not spoil. But was that it?
Probably.
After all the insanity? Like, I respect what the idea was, but...
I don't know what it is, but if you're underwhelmed by a Mario final boss, welcome. Where have you been?
Okay, fair. Very fair. Alright. Now I'll really quickly just do my last one, and you can get the last one of yours. Because after that, well, not after that, during that, I went to go play a game I absolutely know I adore. Because I've still been playing Monster Hunter Generations, but not to a point I have some more to say about it. However, I was talking to my brother about Monster Hunter, and he told me that he didn't feel the itch to jump back into the franchise, which led me to buy Monster Hunter World for the 3rd time so I could play it with him on PC.
Nice.
And I forgot how absolutely perfect this game is. Just the moment you walk out into the ancient forest, and it's just... You see this entire world sprawled out in front of you. All the little critters and beasts and bugs and birds. Plant life swaying in the wind with the sound design telling this place is alive. You just feel like you walked straight into the Cretaceous period. It's amazing. I mentioned last time that an issue I had with this game was that while the areas feel massive and interconnected, on a kind of like a meta level compared to the older games, because the older games have like loading screens between them, right? So it gets a sense that you're traveling. It gets a sense that the monsters are a little too close together. Like it kind of gamifies it just a little bit. I'm like, okay, like, you got 20 apex predators in the same spot, and it just feels a little bit odd. But when you're in the middle of it, oh, this feels like the biggest world I've ever been in video games. Which, you know, bizarre. That's a fraction of the size of open world games, but...
Right.
I think where this game does so well that other games fail to do is that other games just try to sell you on, okay, this world is big. But Monster Hunter World tries to sell you on, okay, this ecosystem is massive. And that just creates layers upon layers upon layers. That, okay, you're only seeing this fraction of it, but this is just sprawling across the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it breathes just so much more world into everything. Just every little nook and cranny. You see, like, oh, there's a little bug right there. You wouldn't see that bug anywhere else in the world, but it's here because this is... Just, oh... I love this game. I love this game so much. Especially when considering how much the player can interact with the world. Older and even the newest games, to be fair, they give you the areas to explore, but you can't really do much with them.
Mm-hmm.
But here, just in the first level, you'll have, like, trees that are covered in vines. If you knock a monster into it, the vines will entangle them. You'll have, like, get underneath the tree where the roots are intertwined with huge rocks, and you can knock the roots down to knock the rocks down. You'll find, like, little bugs and critters. Like, here's a toad that if you spook it, it'll, like, release a poisonous gas. Or these poison plants you can knock off, and it'll just create a floor of poison everywhere. There's smaller raptors that your felines can tame to fight with you. You are given so many tools to not only exist in this environment, but to interact with it, which just feeds back into that loop of, okay, this world is just alive.
Mm-hmm.
I think a huge part of that I think kind of went under the radar is that Monster Hunter World added this, like, wrist slingshot kind of deal that you could just pick up rocks or whatever just to load into it and fire whenever.
Yeah. Scorpion is very cool.
Exactly. But it allows the hunter to have a wider area of effect in the environment without actually giving the hyper-crazy mobility of Rise and Sunbreak that lets them be anywhere in the environment. So, like, you can poke that toad to create the paralyzing gas, but you can't just dash over instantly, poke it, and dash away. Which grounds the fights a lot more than in Rise, and creates this nice balance between the older and the newer styles of gameplay.
Yeah. Forgive me for not commenting on this as fervently as I did with Mario.
I am speaking Arabic right now for you. That's fine. Don't
I get the gist of what you're saying, but...
It's
please understand, I'm going, yeah, neat. I support you, friend.
It's okay. I've had this many times. Both me and my brother are, like, fairly good at this game, so we're progressing pretty far without upgrading our armor at all, which I cannot stress enough how good Monster Hunter's difficulty scaling is in this way, as how much that you want to... like, build yourself up to stay on the same level as the monsters you're facing. It's essentially a totally customizable difficulty slider scale.
All right.
Because, like, we're both pretty good. So we still are up against, like, the mid-lower tier monsters with just what we started off wearing. Which turns, like, what should be a fairly easy battle against this giant fire-breathing T-Rex into this 20-minute nail-biter that just drains you of all your resources, and we've died twice, and if you hit one more time, we're gonna die. And just win by the skin of our teeth, and it's just... it's so good. Do have one major complaint, though. And I do need to talk about that.
Okay.
Well, I don't need to, but it's fun to rag on this. The NPC companion is so annoying. This is the Navi of the Monster Hunter series, which I feel
isn't she
bad
like
about.
that cute, like, trainee
No,
girl?
she's adorable, but she's just always getting you into trouble. She never shuts up, and there's a slight uncanny valley to I think it's her eyes to just get this kind of just bore into the back of your brain that just gets a little odd.
Oh, come on. Come on. You have to like her. Like, don't you just look at her and go like, you...
I thought like, I absolutely adored her.
You're the cute anime girl version of Scrappy Doo.
That's on point.
How can you not love that?
No, but okay, because I was thinking that same thing. I was remembering this, like, aha, I feel like people were being too mad about her. But then, beginning of the game, your whole party gets separated from, like, the main hunter guild by this literal walking volcano. You get separated from your loyal feline sidekick who you've been with through thick and thin. You reunite with that feline sidekick back at home base. And what happens? Does he run up to hug you? No! This random handler person that you've known for all of 5 minutes steals your cat hug! What the fuck? Let me hug my buddy!
It'd be so cute for the trailer, though.
And she steals moments like that all the time. Just let me have my bond
She's
with
the
my
face
guy.
of the franchise.
No!
She's the champ who runs the camp.
I know it's a small thing to get annoyed by, but it really gets to me.
We have to push Handler. She's so cute.
I do think she gets memed on a little too harshly. But, like, there is a problem there. There's a reason that, like, halfway through the expansion, you get a much calmer handler that takes over while she's been separated from you. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, wow, you're actually professionally helping me. And, like, you're not running headfirst into the monster and I have to save you. Like, this actually feels really good. You remind me of the Monster Hunter 4 handler. I think they were trying to do Threes again. Who is just the best character of the entire franchise. But, like, Threes wasn't, like, putting you in danger. And it's... I don't know. She didn't steal my hugs from Cha-Cha. I love Cha-Cha. I want Cha-Cha to come back. Apart from that small blemish, though, this is, I would argue, the most beautiful game I've ever played. It's got the most beautiful world. I can